Hey, this is Ralph, and in this video I want to use Excel and the Future Value Calculator to calculate a retirement fund. Okay, so first I'm just over here at ycharts.com, and I just wanted to grab some historical data for the S&P 500. So it looks like we have some returns here for the past 20 years. So I'm just going to go ahead and carefully select this data. I'm going to copy that, run over here to Excel. I'm going to do a paste special. I'm just going to paste the text, click OK, put all that data in there. Select all the annual returns, and I'm using the quick little calculate area in the lower right corner. You can barely see that, but it's 11.83%. Otherwise, I would just do an average of all of these values. Oops, I didn't get everything. Let's make sure I get everything. So let's get for the past 20 years, and that's where we get that average of 11.83%. And of course, you'll notice if you're only selecting portions of years, then could end up being smaller. So we'll use that 11.8% or something like that for our calculation. So let's go ahead and create a new sheet here. Let me zoom in nice and big, and let's go ahead and just call this a retirement fund calculator. Of course, it doesn't have to be a retirement fund. It could pretty much be any future fund calculator for whatever you might need. I'm going to do a little merge and center, size that first column, size the second column, and let's go ahead and put in some basic data. So I'm going to plug in a retirement or goal age, current age, years left, my monthly investment or savings, my rate of return, and then all of this is going to produce the future value. Okay, so if my retirement is 65 and my current age, I'm going to lie, I am not 30, but I'm going to say I'm 30 here because it makes me feel better. I'm going to do equals, and I'm going to calculate my goal age minus my current age, and that's going to give me my years left or my time horizon. For monthly savings investing, I'll just put in 300 per month. My rate of return, I'm going to assume 11.5%. Since I have 35 years left, I'll do 11.5, which is just under the 20-year average. So now we're going to have Excel help us with the future value portion. So I'm going to do equals FV, the future value function. There are three arguments that we need to focus our attention on: rate, number of periods, and payment. I'm going to ignore these last two arguments over here to the right. They're in brackets, which means they're optional. So for the rate, I'm going to click on the cell that contains my annual rate, and I'm going to divide it by 12 because I want a monthly rate. And then I press a comma. I want a monthly rate because I'm doing monthly investing and I want monthly compounding. So I need a monthly version of my annual rate of return. Now for the second argument, number of payment periods. Well, there are 35 years left, so I'm going to click on the cell that contains the years, and I'm going to multiply by 12 to once again get it into monthly terms. I want everything in months, comma. Now for my payment, I'm going to type a minus sign and then click on the cell that contains my monthly investment. So your monthly payment is a cash outflow, so we're going to express it as a negative, and then we will return with a positive amount. And then I close off my parentheses. So my future value function has the annual rate divided by 12, comma, the number of years left times 12, comma, and then a negative version of my monthly investments and savings. When I press enter, I'm going to produce a number that's fortunately too big to fit in the cell, so I'm going to make that column a little bit wider, and I can see that a 30-year-old investing for the next 35 years at an average annual return of 11.5%, investing $300 a month, should get approximately $1.68 million. Now, what is that going to mean to this 65-year-old? Let's go ahead and calculate an estimated monthly draw. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take the parentheses, and I'm going to take that future value and I'm going to multiply it by 0.04 or 4%, and I'm going to divide that by 12 to get a monthly version of it. 4% is a pretty common percentage value to consider how much you'd want to draw from your retirement nest egg. And I want to do this on a monthly basis, so I'll divide by 12. I'll press enter. And let me go ahead and do a little bit of formatting here with accounting. And I'll see that if this is the case, then I should be able to draw $5,600 per month from my retirement fund and maintain it reasonably well. Assuming this fund has now been transferred into something perhaps a little bit more conservative and not getting the expected average of 11.5%, maybe it's doing a little bit less. So that's kind of the plan there, and I can use my estimated monthly draw. Now, of course, to me, $5,600 a month sounds pretty good, but keep in mind this is also going to be 35 years into the future. Who knows, $5,600 a month is going to meet your expectations. What are your healthcare costs going to be when you're 30, 35 years down the road? What are your other living expenses going to be 30, 35 years down the road? But using Excel, we can produce a very nice estimate of what to expect and perhaps a plan of action to maintain. So once again, I'm using that future value function to take my annual rate divided by 12, my number of periods times 12, and a negative version of my monthly investment. That calculates my future value at retirement. And then I'm estimating a monthly draw based on 4% of my nest egg, of my future value, and dividing that by 12 just for the number of months. Okay, so there's a basic fund calculator. Obviously, if my current age is 44, which is more realistic, that only gives me 21 years left, which means my future value is only going to be $314,000 and my monthly draw is going to be just $1,000. So clearly somebody with a smaller time horizon cannot get by saving and investing just $300 a month. That person might need to put in $1,000 a month to still not even get quite close to what a 30-year-old could do. All right, so create your calculator and plan your future. Talk to you later.